You've probably heard that the right app can fix your life. Wake up time, water intake, deep work blocks, sleep score, all of it optimized by software that knows you better than you know yourself. But the more people hand their days over to an algorithm, the less in control they report feeling, not more. So what's actually going on when a piece of software starts making your decisions for you? Here's why this matters even if you've never downloaded a habit tracker. Somewhere between 2 and 3 billion people now carry a device that logs their steps, their sleep, their screen time, or their spending. Most of them didn't set out to be monitored. They just wanted to feel a little more in control of a day that felt like it was slipping away from them. That's the quiet promise behind every productivity app. Give me your data, and I'll give you your life back. It's a reasonable trade on paper. The question is what happens once you actually make it. Let's start with the science, because there's a real body of research on what happens to your motivation once a task becomes something you're being watched doing. Psychologists Edward Desai and Richard Ryan built what's called self-determination theory, and one of its central findings is something researchers call the overjustification effect. In the original experiments, people who were paid to solve puzzles they already enjoyed solving lost interest in those puzzles once the payment stopped. The reward didn't add motivation. It replaced it. A 1999 meta-analysis of 128 separate studies by Desai, Kostner, and Ryan confirmed the pattern held up again and again. Tangible rewards tied to performance reliably undermine intrinsic motivation, especially for things people already found interesting. Here's the part that should sound familiar. A streak counter is a reward. A productivity score is a reward. A red notification telling you that you broke your habit chain is a punishment, dressed up as feedback. The theory predicts that the more your behavior gets tied to an external number, the less it stays connected to your own reasons for doing it in the first place. You stop reading because you're curious. You start reading because Goodreads is judging you. Now zoom in, because this isn't just a lab finding. It's a pattern researchers have documented in the apps themselves. Sociologist Deborah Lupton has spent years studying what she calls the culture of self-surveillance, the way fitness trackers and productivity dashboards turn ordinary daily life into something to be measured, logged, and optimized, almost like a small research project you're running on yourself. And here's the strange twist. Study after study on these apps finds the same pattern. People download them with real enthusiasm and then quietly stop using them. Researchers studying mental health and self-tracking apps have repeatedly found high attrition after the first few weeks, engagement dropping off long before any lasting behavior change sets in. The tool that was supposed to build a habit becomes, itself, a habit that doesn't stick. So which is it? Does external tracking help you build a better life, or does it quietly hollow out the motivation that was already there? The honest answer is that it depends on what the tracking is actually doing to your sense of control. This is the turn, and it's a more interesting one than apps are bad. Self-determination theory doesn't say all external structure is harmful. It says people need to feel like the locus of control is inside them, not outside them. A feedback system that gives you real information at a moment you chose to look for it tends to support that. A system that nags, ranks, and streaks you tends to erode it. There's even research. A 2023 study by Belluser and colleagues published in Frontiers in Psychology, showing that automated daily feedback can genuinely enhance self-regulated learning when the feedback is informational rather than a scoreboard. The difference isn't the algorithm. It's whether the algorithm still leaves room for you to be the one deciding what your day means. That's the trap hiding inside the word optimization. It quietly swaps the question, what do I want my day to look like, for what does my score say my day should look like? And once that swap happens, you can be perfectly efficient and still feel like a stranger in your own schedule. So here's the one thing worth taking from all this. Before you let an app decide your morning, ask yourself a smaller question first. Am I checking this because I'm curious what's true, or because I'm afraid of what happens if I don't? If it's curiosity, the data is probably serving you. If it's fear of the streak breaking, the app has quietly become the boss of a life that was supposed to be yours. So no, the algorithm probably isn't going to plan your perfect day, and if it did, you might not even recognize it as yours. Case closed. Until the next file. Here's a question worth sitting with in the comments. What's one thing in your routine you track purely out of habit, not because you ever look at the number. If you want more strange, true, oddly human stories like this one, the Stranger Than You Think playlist is exactly where you left off.
Every week we open a new file, a new truth about why humans feel, think, and act the way they do. If you want in, subscribe. The next one might change how you see everything.